Well, hey everybody, this is Robert and welcome to Outbreak News TV. And on today's news brief, we're going to look at an influenza A subtype H9 reported in a person in Vietnam. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happened. In Vietnam, the Department of Preventive Medicine announced a human case of influenza A subtype H9. And this is what we know about the patient. It was a male, 37 years old, residing in Tan Ly Dong Commune, Chau Than District, Tien Giang Province, not very far from Ho Chi Minh City. On March 10th, 2024, the patient developed symptoms of fever and self-medicated, but did not on a regular basis. The patient came for examination and treatment at the City Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Ho Chi Minh City on March 16th and was diagnosed with severe pneumonia suspected to be caused by a virus. Initial test results at the National Hospital showed positive for influenza A and had gene segments similar to influenza A virus subtype H9. The specimen was sent to the Pasteur Institute in Ho Chi Minh City for confirmation. On April 1st, the Pasteur Institute in Ho Chi Minh City discovered a patient sample positive for influenza A subtype H9. Currently, the institute is continuing to perform in-depth tests to determine the subgroup. The patient is currently being actively treated at the Ho Chi Minh City People's Hospital. Now, according to the results of the epidemiological investigation, the patient's place of residence is located in a poultry farm, and there's also a poultry market in front of the patient's house. There have been no reports of sick or dead poultry around the area where the patient's family lives. Cases of close contact with patients are listed and their health is monitored. Up to now, no symptoms of respiratory infection have been detected. No outbreak of respiratory infections have been recorded in the community where the patient lives. Now, this is the first case of influenza A subtype H9 in Vietnam ever. Now, not long ago in Vietnam, they reported, matter of fact, last month, they reported a human case of influenza A H5N1 in Can Hoi. So that was very recent. From 2015 until now, in the Western Pacific region, there have been 98 cases of influenza A H9N2, including 2 fatalities. Both of those patients had underlying illness. The vast majority of those cases were reported from China, and 2 cases were reported from Cambodia. There is currently no evidence that influenza A H9N2 is transmitted from person to person. Influenza A viruses are divided into subtypes on the basis of 2 proteins on the surface of the virus, hemagglutinin, or HA, and neuraminidase, or NA. There are 18 known HA subtypes and 11 known NA subtypes. In birds, 16 HA and 9 NA subtypes have been identified. The other 2 are found in bats. Many different combinations of HA and NA proteins are possible. So you've heard of H5N1. That means there's a HA5 protein and an NA1 protein. All known subtypes of influenza A viruses can infect birds, except for a couple that are only found in bats. Only 2 influenza A subtypes, A H1N1 and A H3N2, are currently circulating among people. Those are 2 of the very common seasonal influenza viruses. Influenza A viruses have been detected and are known to circulate in 7 different animal species or groups, including humans, wild water birds, domestic poultry, swine, horses, dogs, and bats. In many other animal species, avian influenza A viruses have been reported to cause occasional infections, but do not regularly spread among them. For example, cats and seals. Equine or horse influenza A H3N8 virus routinely circulates and can cause illness in horses. And canine or dog influenza A H3N2 routinely circulates and causes illness in dogs. Influenza A viruses are classified into two following categories: the low pathogenicity avian influenzas, or the LPAIs, and the high pathogenic avian influenzas, or the HPAI A viruses. Avian influenza A viruses rarely infect people. 5 subtypes of influenza A are known, avian influenza A, are known to have caused human infections. We have the H5, H6, H7, H9, and H10. The most frequently identified subtypes of avian influenza A viruses that have caused human infections are H5, H7, and H9. And specifically, H5N1 and H7N9 viruses have caused the majority of avian influenza A virus infections reported in people. And that's the story coming out of Vietnam. We're sure to hear more about it in coming days. And I appreciate you watching. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, share with your friends, and I'll see you next time on Outbreak News TV.